Okay, we're live. Love saying that. Yeah, so myself and Lord Toxic, we just watched Reacher season 2, episode 1. And like anybody would know, my new format going, I'm going to be doing share screens, but I'm not going to show any footage anymore because I'm tired of getting my shit blocked. So, but and we're not going to do an entire like basically because it's a 55-minute episode too. So instead of doing
Mm,
like a whole 55-minute watch along, because we just I think people like shorter versions, but I'm going to be just showing clips or not clips, but pictures, images. That's it. But yeah, Reacher's back, dude. Episodes 1 through 3 are out. Unfortunately, I can only record episode 1 right now. And yeah, so episode 1 starts off, or sorry, episode 2, episode 1. Wow, season 2 is a recap of season 1. And did you like the recap?
yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, listen, if you have not watched season 1 of Reacher, you're not going to be, too interested in what you see in season 2 of Reacher, but you
Yep.
could watch it. It would be totally fine. The Reacher books are very, they're standalone-ish. They're very, as I've said in a previous live stream that we did talking about Reacher. Reacher books are like Law and Order episodes. You could jump in any one that you want
Yeah.
and be just as entertained as you are in any of them. I myself started with the book 7,
Mm,
The Enemy, which is the first Reacher story in chronological order,
mm.
um, just by wild coincidence, just because my mom gave it to me when I was still an MP in the Army. And she thought I might like it. I did. I started to read them in order. Um, the first book is also the first season of Reacher the Amazon series,
Yep.
which is The Killing Floor is the novel. What we are now looking at in season 2 is book 11
Really?
in
Okay.
chronological order. It
Okay.
is called Bad Luck and Trouble.
Yeah.
Now a lot of the books, if you read them, you will start to see that they are out of chronological order for a reason, because they will show you there are older stories with Reacher while he's still in the military, still as an MP investigator, still as a provost marshal, like that.
Yeah.
And then there are other ones that take place in the present day as it is at the time,
Yeah.
whether that be 1998, 2010, 2013, whatever. Um, so this one in chronological order takes place in 2012.
Mm,
Uh, that is not represented here in this uh, Amazon series,
yeah.
because this is supposed to take place 2 years after the events of season 1,
Hmm.
which is Margrave. Um, or 2.5 years rather.
Yeah.
So technically, this would be present day.
Yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, so well, the episode starts off with Catskill Mountains and two
Yep.
hours north of Manhattan. I seen this
Yep.
this delicious bunny. I'm like, hey, someone's gonna eat it, and they didn't though. But it was funny, like when The Last of Us 2 came out, you had to go hunting, and a bunny died, and people got triggered by
Yes.
a bunny dying. Like, get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here. So yeah, we
Well,
start. Yeah.
the world has become very soft.
So yeah, we start off with a body being dropped onto the ground, and oh shit.
Yes.
I first know what's happened. I'm telling myself that is Reacher such a badass where he can fall out of the helicopter and get back up. I wasn't sure. So
Reacher might be, but this guy isn't.
that's what I told myself. But and yeah, so it says Luke Billick and it's Calvin Franz. So our character Franz, which we don't know right now, but and just Reacher. All right.
Right.
Now what's how do you say his place? Freesboro?
You are a
Murfrees.
little bit ahead of me. Let me
Oh yeah.
get. That's okay. That's okay.
So I'm
I'll
just
just
skipping
skip ahead
ahead.
a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I'll
And
skip ahead a little bit.
And as you said,
Uh,
we're getting to like nowadays because I'm assuming the book came out, they didn't have smartphones like this, so we have to update, you
Sure.
know. And
Sure. Now, to be fair, the book actually was in 2012, so they
okay,
did have cell phones, but the introduction is slightly different.
yeah, and just
There's
showcasing yet again, like, look at the fucking size of the son of a bitch.
Yeah, he's
Jesus
actually
Christ.
bigger now than he was in season 1.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it. I didn't think that was possible, but he found a way. But even besides his muscle, just the size between him and his cashier, like, dude, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And I do it the small things where he $22 and stuff, and he looks behind right there, the 50% off items, like, okay, and well, it was the other guy's job, like, "Well, why don't you take it down for him?" "Alright, I'm gonna go hit the
Right.
ATM," and we didn't know this at the time period, but the ATM has a special meaning, but and this part right here was in the trailer, which I did like, where you have this woman's getting some money out, and Reacher always says details matters. He notices that she got a little mark on her face, hands are kinda messed up, and very quickly pulls out his Reacher-isms like, "Okay, car right there is
Yep.
yours, yep," pulled out a gun, and, "I'll be right back." And this
Yep.
poor son of a bitch doesn't even fucking not even a fight, so and you notice as well, I noticed, like, the detail where Reacher takes the friggin' last bullet out of the chamber to gives a woman and her kid the clip, and, "Who are you?" Somebody just doesn't wanna get involved
Correct.
because he doesn't. And now the ATM, the receipt, it has a special hidden message, which Reacher knows that, and great scene right here. She's like, "Okay, I need a new jacket. Why for?" "Well, this one's got blood on it."
Yeah.
And so I need your phone. Why? I gotta make a phone call. And he calls his good old buddy from season one. And as you told me, so I was trying to tell this to my son. Now, Neegly is a character that she in every book or not every book?
She is not in every book.
Okay.
She was not in what season 1 is supposed to be representative of the 1997 book, Killing Floor, which is the first Reacher novel. Neely does not make an appearance in that. Now, the reason why you have her making an appearance in the first novel and the first season of the show is because they had always intended to move into this story in the second season. They
Yeah.
didn't want to infringe upon what the two movies did, because both movies, the Tom Cruise movies, are based on individual novels as well. So they didn't want to do that,
Mm,
but they needed you to have some kind of continuity. So
yeah.
this was very logical for them to move into that. So yeah, Neely is basically um she is Reacher's master sergeant.
Mm,
So in the army, you have the officer corps and you have the NCO corps, non-commissioned officer corps. The non-commissioned officer corps is your sergeant, staff sergeant, master sergeant, first sergeant, like that. And Neely is that. She's the enlisted. That's when. So if you go and join the military, you will be an enlisted soldier. Now, if you get college first, or go to West Point or something like that, like Reacher did, you can become a commissioned officer, which means that people will salute you and you'll be an officer. That'll come into play a lot with the juxtaposition of the story, which is Neely is his master sergeant, or his, as we like to call it in the army, his top kick, which
yeah.
is the highest ranking sergeant that he has working for him.
Yeah, I always say her character. I always say Neegly just because of the way it's like spelled. It says like it's
Right. It's
N-E-A-G-L-E-Y.
spelled yeah, it's spelled Neegly, but it's pronounced Neely.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, that the receipt detail was just cool, the way to deposit, and he tells her, like, was it 01 and 10:30, and just the way he breaks down the
Right.
receipt by looking at it.
Right.
Very
1030
cool.
is a brevity code in the military police corps or a lot of other police corps, which is officer in need of assistance.
Okay, awesome. And, yeah, we get and I think 'cause, we watch so much Banshee together, how the film grain is different, but with Reacher, we're getting our first flashback. It says right here, Rock Creek,
Yes.
Virginia, and several
Yes.
years earlier. Alright,
Right.
so
Rock Creek, Virginia is the original home of the military police corps.
yeah,
That is where the Rock Creek Arsenal uh, in the Civil War was established, and that's where one of the first military police bases was supposed to be at.
nice.
So it would make sense that that's where Reacher and his crew would have their base.
Yeah, and we're getting our first character right here. This is, Franz, and Franz, at the time
Yes,
period, he's new, and he doesn't we don't get to later on, he, pretty much looks up to Reacher, and, who wouldn't, but now
right.
Reacher's telling him that they're Reacher what so he is basically assigned this new team, and what they call them what the
Right.
special investigators.
Right. What we will find out later is that Reacher was gifted this group of investigators. This is what we would refer to in the military as a squad. Anything between 5 and 10 soldiers would be a squad. I believe this is 9 soldiers, if I count correctly, and I might be wrong. And so you have Reacher as the OIC or officer in charge, and then he has 8 or 9 soldiers working underneath him, all of varying ranks and varying specialties, in order to investigate crimes in the military. They
Yeah.
are the 110th Special Investigation Unit, assigned to the Military Police
Yep.
Corps.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact dialogue here. It's like, so Reacher says that I got a rule. Plans go to hell as soon as the first shot's been fired, so your first shot better be your best shot.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I'm the only non-Marine to win the USMC 1,000-yard invitational, and I still know Lauer gives us our best first shot.
Correct.
Good dialogue right there. All right, so, and he's just telling the team that like, and everyone, so they call him Major Reacher. Reacher doesn't like being called Major or Sir. He just wants to be called Reacher.
Right. Reacher doesn't see himself as anything other than what the person that he is. He
Yeah,
doesn't like military rank. He doesn't like uh to refer to it. He does love the army. He does love America. But he doesn't like the little minutia protocols. I can understand that.
yeah,
I always thought it was weird when somebody would go to parade rest for me. I'd look behind me and see if there was somebody outranking me behind me. But,
yeah,
they would be like doing that for me. Yes, sergeant, no sergeant.
yeah.
I would be like, "Oh, that's weird." That would make me feel weird because I didn't feel like I was somebody. But I also like to be in charge and I like to tell people what to do.
Hmm, yeah,
So, this is kind of interesting. So now we've got Reacher in present day. You're right, filmed differently, and he is going into a diner because he's been
yeah.
given the 1030 code, which is officer in need of assistance.
Oh, I do like real quick the little segment where he says like he's like, just
But
because he's not yelling, you just have to listen to me, get off your asses, and but he wants to see if his team can work together. But the way he says it,
yes,
get up off your asses, get the stuff done. All right. So yeah, I said we're back in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York. I've only been to New York City a couple times, but I know Brooklyn's pretty goddamn big, and it is cool seeing Reacher in New York City versus just an entire season in one small town.
yes, there's going to be a lot of moving around in this
Yeah,
season as opposed to the last one.
and I did like this said because I'm so fascinated by like how good he is because like he sits down with Neely, and he looks down to coffee and he goes, "Yeah, coffee's still hot," and then she's like, "Yeah, not hard to track you," and I factored in your time, how fast you move. You don't check on for luggage, and I had the coffee poured 90 seconds ago. Shit.
Yeah, Neely is definitely Reacher's opposite. Before we get to this book in the series, Neely has already made 3 appearances.
Yeah,
Um, so you get the idea that he has had this team of people. Neely is his number one person.
yeah,
She is, I don't want to say sidekick, but she's definitely his
yeah.
adjutant, if for lack of a better word. She is as
I'll see
skilled
right
as he
here.
is. Um, I think the only thing he has on her is the fact that he's this huge monster, and
Mm,
may or may not have been in more conflicts than her.
yeah,
But
yeah.
she's definitely somebody to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Let's pause so I get the dialogue because, like you said, it's been established they haven't seen or talked to each other since season one. He goes, "You look good." I look the same. You look good. 2 years, 7 months, and was it 17 days,
14 days. Yeah.
14 days
Yeah.
ago.
2 years. Yeah. 14 days ago.
I know he said 19 days ago. So yeah,
Okay. All right.
but yeah. So now they're talking about Franz. So our good old buddy Franz, he didn't make it. He was the one dropped out of the helicopter,
Correct.
and so Franz's widow, and of course, she's like, and she's saying Franz had a widow, had a kid. And he's like looking at her. She goes, "What?" She's, "Yeah, life moves on when you're away, big fella." Because people like him that are wanderers. Reacher hasn't changed, but some people they change.
Yeah.
But and again, good dialogue right here with Reacher because he says that he was tortured, nothing but mucus in his stomach, dehydrated, no food, no water, and she was chucked out of a plane. And just I love his mind where he's like, then from a plane. He was found in the middle of nowhere with no injuries, consistent with a fall from 3,000 feet. He's like, but He's like, "An airplane has a stall speed of what? 80 miles an hour, 100 tops?" It's like, "They would've shoved him out of the doors plane horizontally into the slipstream. He banged into the wing or tail." And he said, "Paramortem injuries," and he goes, "He was thrown from a helicopter." And how do you know? It's like, dude, how do you know all this shit? And yeah, he tells her, he's like, his broken legs weren't from the falls anyway, because then, of course, he reads the friggin' toxicology report and notices that the enzymes that would have happened, um, oh yeah, look at his blood work, full of free histamines, massive pain reaction. Like, dude, that's just the fact that he knows all this shit. So yeah, so go Reacher. He knows that he was tortured and thrown from a helicopter, and the people that killed him want to do this to avoid ballistics. All right, always a private guy, and of course, and some small little things right there. He said, you could have told me that people died, but he's like, come on, Reacher, would you have cared? You were wandering around for the past 2 years. I doubt you would have came to a funeral anyway. He's like, yeah, you're right.
This is good because it pays homage to the fact that anyone who's read the books knows in the past 2.5, 3 years since the events of the first book and also the first season, Reacher's been in multiple
Yeah,
uh, adventures.
yeah,
So that's right.
yeah,
That's why he's road worn. That's why
yeah,
he's almost out of money. Um,
yeah. And right there, of course, his freaking he's always aware and stuff. He looks over, notices that there's a freaking sedan watching them. Like, yep, son of a bitch, man. And you got this guy here writing down Reacher's name, Neagly, their whole squad. So she
yep.
just met up with the big one. All right. Tries making a phone call, gets a voice message. All right. And we have to go visit the wife. And yeah, pretty good scene right here. Just this poor widowed woman talking about her husband and stuff. And yeah, talking about the history and stuff. And she's like, she would tell the husband would tell so many friggin' stories to her widow about these two. And thank you for saying that. And good little spot here with his kid. Because the kid, what does he say? He goes, "You don't mess with the private investigators."
You don't mess with the special investigators unit,
Let's
which
say,
is basically their uh, motto, for
yeah,
lack of a better term.
yep, here he is, a kid. He said, "You do not mess with the special investigators." And then good old Neely being, because Reacher's not the kind of guy to sit down and be nice to, well, not nice to a kid, but he's not. It's Reacher. So she sits down, has a little conversation. She goes, "Yeah, your daddy taught you that," and tells a nice, good story between, her and Reacher, how they first met, their father. And your dad got them to shake hands and be friends again over a mom's homemade cookie.
I like the fact that in the TV series, Neely is a lot more affable and personable with people.
Yeah,
She's not like that in the books. In the books, she's
yeah,
very standoffish. She's a professional. She's intelligent. But she definitely does not communicate well with people.
yeah,
Here in the series, um, yes, she is still professional. Yes, she obviously has some kind of trauma where she doesn't like to be like necessarily around people, whatever.
mm,
But she's definitely better with people. She knows how to speak to people, which a
yeah.
good private investigator would have to do.
She's like, Franzi, that cookie. And yet again, she's like, "There's a black sedan following us. There's a black sedan in every street in America. Get in." And Reacher's like, "Yeah, I can smell the bullshit." It's had to be on purpose by good screenwriters. So Neely's using an alias Sarah Connor, and the guy's now talking to Robert.
Yes.
He's talking to Robert Patrick. He's like, "Who's Sarah Connor?" I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't. Someone's got. I know just you and me could be the only ones picking up on this shit. He says his
No,
name's.
that's definitely an Easter egg a lot of people are gonna pick up on. Sarah Connor? I don't know who that is. I don't give a shit.
I fucking even my kid's 16. He busts out laughing. So we're like, yeah, come on. So yeah, so they go to Franz's spot right here, and exactly the kind of place that Franzi would choose. And again, just I love the details where like Reach is breaking apart this crime scene, and only the way he would, because he's talking about how it's
Yep.
trash. He's like, they didn't find anything. He's like, they were breaking what was it? She's like, how do you know that? He's like, yeah, you don't go to this link if you found something. Plus, they were pissed off. It's because the way they were breaking shit, like right there, they broke that.
Right.
And
Once the
and
fact that he realizes that somebody was so frustrated that they threw something
yeah,
unnecessary through the window,
yeah,
he knew that, okay, well, whatever it is that they were looking for, they didn't find it.
yeah. And even she's like, whatever they wanted was small because you don't sit there and you break the legs of chairs unless you're trying to find something inside of them. So, all right, cool, good call. And I
Correct.
look around, and of course she's like, how sharp was Phronsie? Very sharp. And it's like, yeah, he would hide this in a place that it's in plain sight, but nobody would suspect. And she realizes it's a mailbox key. Right across the street is freaking post office. I still like even here. She looks at the keypad and just part of who Reacher is. Well, it's after 5 o'clock. There's a keypad for code, digit code, passwords. Reacher's like, I hate guessing passwords, which later on plays into the episode as well. But then we get some good dialogue here. It's like, well, how would we kill some time? Fucking Neely and Reacher, they're just gonna start sitting there and playing gin. And at one point, she mentions their old team, and apparently he had a. Oh, did you notice too? I don't know. Maybe it's me watching too many films and stuff. Reacher's drinking a beer like this and stuff, puts it down. He goes like this, almost like, "Hey, Budweiser," and then puts it back around. He knows you never see the beer, the label and stuff. He puts it down. He twists it to the Budweiser, faces the camera, then starts drinking the fucking beer. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I,
No,
I,
I
wo-
didn't
I,
catch that.
I wonder if that's product. When you watch it, I just wonder if it's product placement because I'm like, because it could be any kind of beer. And when later on everyone's always drinking Budweisers, you never see Budweiser until right. It's like, "Reek," and I'm like, yeah. So
Hmm.
someone from
Well,
Amazon's probably paying them.
details matter, as you know.
So yeah, and just have like talking about their history and stuff, these two being commanders. And like you said, he never looked down upon Neely as being like, 'cause she's like, we were the same rank, but he never looked at her as something different. He always cared about her as like an equal. Who'd you call the most? Unless there's someone to actually talk to. All right. But he says right there, we were the same rank. And I saw a nice dialogue. He's like, I ran the team, but he didn't feel it was appropriate for him to have a relationship with that one, but you found her attractive. So yeah, so she's still his master sergeant. He's out of money, but he's like, I'll hit you up later because I don't want to have that. My master sergeant hold my tab. And we get a good scene right here, and you would know this more than me, that these
Hmm.
we have a bunch of soldiers here and they're all having fucking good old Budweisers.
Hmm.
And this is a what? So this is a officers bar?
Yes, this is what's called the O Club in the Army.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. See here we get this big he's like he says to Neely, you're a master sergeant, almost everyone outranks you. I don't know what that means, but you would know.
Okay, so officers are on one tier, and then you have sergeants on another tier. The sergeants, you can start as an E1, you can enlist in the Army, and you work your way up to sergeant or corporal, then sergeant, and then staff sergeant, sergeant first class, master sergeant, first sergeant, and sergeant major.
Yeah.
So Neely is pretty high up, but the highest ranking sergeant is lower than the lowest ranking officer. An O1 or butter bar second lieutenant is still above the highest ranking sergeant.
Yeah.
Officers clubs are for officers.
Mm,
They're called O clubs for a reason. Can you bring a sergeant in there? You can. Can someone challenge it and get pissy about it like this dickhead does?
yeah.
Yes, they can.
I agree there. She's like, I don't do you mind me asking a question? I don't mind you asking. I do mind you calling me sir. We just established with Reacher, but she's just getting to know him. But yeah, he's like, you shouldn't be drinking. Now, is this true? Because you know this more than me. This big guy says you shouldn't be drinking in uniform.
That is correct. If you're drinking,
Okay.
you have to be in what's called Class A or Class B uniform. See
Sure.
the female with the collared shirt? That is
Uh,
the uniform you are allowed to be in drinking, or if you're in civilians.
okay.
You're not supposed to be in your duty uniform.
Wow.
Reacher obviously did this to provoke
Oh
some
yeah.
kind of a problem with the other
I
officers.
I mean, me being a civilian, I didn't know that's watching it. So yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah." So he's like, not supposed to be drinking." He goes, "Well, we were drinking. You interrupted it. Are you some kind of a smart guy?" And yeah, leave them alone. But and of course, Neely just like good dialogue here, which is like, "Here, how about I just finished my beer? I'll be on my way, okay, sir. How about you be quiet? There are adults talking." Shit.
I mean, you pretty much know how this is gonna go.
Now what's funny is, but he goes, either she leaves or we drag you out by all your asses. But why is this guy? Why is he singling out Neely for? Because
Because
there's
she's
nine
a
of them.
sart. Because she's a sergeant. All the other ones are officers.
Oh shit. Okay, to know that. Yeah. So of course he tells Reacher, he's like, "Yeah, I promise you an opening because I promised my mother. I give idiots like you a chance." He's like, "You got 9. We have 12. You got 9. Well, that's a shame." Yeah, of course, as we knew it was going to happen, it's did not turn out too well for this guy. They get to nice little brawl. And yeah, so we're back to the campfire. Everyone's having beers. I do respect this guy right here. He's drinking some good old Jim Beam, which I do like Jim Beam myself. And they're singing acoustic Elton John for Saturday nights. Saturday night's a good time
Yep.
for fighting. But as you said
Yes,
right
it is.
here, it's it's friggin' Neely, and she's bonding with Reacher, and I like the way she says, we're gonna become friends, right? It's like, we already are friends. And
Right.
she's like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have been at the officers club." And yeah, he knew that. She's, "But why'd you back me up?" He didn't ask nicely. And as you said, Reacher explains to her that he did it on purpose.
Yes.
Tonight's the boys of the 91st learned a very important lesson. What did they learn? That you do not mess with the special investigators. And like you're saying, Reacher knew that these guys have a tendency to drink on Thursday nights, and
Yep.
they're very stickers for the rules. And it was a big. He wanted to see what this team is capable of. So Reacher's always planning ahead.
Details matter.
Nice try to find a dialogue right here, but now, yeah, I know they can work together. So there we go. So he's telling his little buddy Franzi here. All right, cool. Let's move on. Beep in. Oh yeah, and we get to see their first picture, which this picture does play into a part in the episode later on too. And of course, like you said, they have cell phones taking pictures with cameras, which we wouldn't have back then. But so now we have this new interesting character at an airplane. This guy is constantly reading a comic book for some reason. I mean, I'm guessing no Marvel and
Mm,
DC license, so he picks up some bootleg comic where it says Blue Mask. You're not seeing
mm,
any well-named characters. Yeah, and I don't get this well. I was telling my kid this watching this scene. He would know better than me probably, but like, the whole so people, bad guys burn their passports and stuff, but lighting a object on fire in a freaking airport bathroom, wouldn't that set up
mm.
a fucking smoke alarm or something? Okay, so yeah, so this is kind of a pretty interesting scene where we have the PO box. They have to go to it, and she's like, "Should we check his office?" And again, for mail, we're thorough, and they have the key to a PO box, but they're not sure which PO box. And Neely tells Reacher that, well, if we go in there and start just putting our keys in random boxes, someone's going to notice. So she has to be a distraction. And she talks to this guy right here about flutter stamps, and she wants to buy some stamps. And of course, Neely's got to take the distraction, try to figure out what box it is. And he almost gets set up by a fucking little old lady of all things. "Excuse me, sir. Can I get to my box?" And he goes, "No, I'm just trying to find which box is mine." And she yells over to the clerk, like, "Sir, he's got the wrong key." And no problem. And Reacher finally gets he finds it. But damn, almost set up by her friggin' by grandma. And yeah, so we're moving on, checking his mail. And let's see, Reacher, and good scene too. Reacher says he wants to basically go get a gun, which, I mean, a guy that's ordered up a ride on one of those phone app things. I'm like, dude, it's 2023, and Reacher doesn't know about Uber and Lyft and shit.
Mm.
So so she's like right there and she knows it. She's like, so Franz was killed over a hard drive and you want to go get a gun. Now, Reacher, I mean, I get the guy, I guess, wants to have hand to hand combat or something, but the guy can use weapons. Shouldn't he just always have a gun on this person in general, the way he is?
I mean, I would assume so.
Yeah. Now, funny how he goes to a local church and he wants to, he basically asks the pastor, he makes up a bullshit story about a cousin, and he wants to score some drugs in a sense because, he knows where the drug dealers are going to be at. And like a very, I mean, Jesus Christ, you think like, he's like, I have righteousness on my side. But Reacher would just go to, go to like a gun shop or something or a store, but he has a different way of getting obtaining a gun. Jesus Christ, which I thought was pretty damn funny. So yeah, hits a friggin' drug deal with his car, gets out, runs his friggin' pockets, and yeah, he said we hear cocaine, oxy, meth, and one guy swings at him. Big mistake. You don't swing at Reacher. Whoops his ass
No.
and takes his fucking gun. So and then robs his fucking money too. And I still like just showing the kind of man Reacher is. What's he do? Comes back, he tells the fucking pastor, here's for the collection 10 there, or the outreach program. Like what a great guy, say. Reacher's always fucking always helping out the little guy for the outreach program. So I was mistaken. So yep. So beat up some drug dealers, took their gun, and all right. I'm not as gun savvy as you. What kind of gun did he grab? Like a regular Beretta or some shit?
Who, Reacher? He
Yeah.
grabbed a 45. It's a
Okay.
45
Yeah.
Colt.
So we have our mysterious guy right here. He's like, yeah, I don't know if they were real or Hollywood bullshit. He gives him a bunch of fake stuff, and this guy, well, he doesn't want any witnesses, so kills this guy, kills the second guy. We're back to Reacher. Got everything I needed in one place. So him and Neely, they break into this apartment, and he finds somebody they weren't expecting. Let's see, what's he say to him? I just line right here. Ooh, okay. Who says, "See, you're still using brass knuckles." He's like, "What happened to the friggin' switchblade?" Friggin' buddy pulls out. This is O'Donnell. So yeah, yeah, freaking look down. It's got a switchblade to reach his balls. But so Reach, this is one of their old squad mates, and they couldn't get a hold of him. But he was saying that I was with my family. It was unplugged week, middle of nowhere. So he's got a wife and kids, and Reach is like, "Damn, what happened to you?" He's like, "You're not the pussy hound used to be." Is yeah, I got domesticated. So you haven't changed. I've been domesticated. And now we're talking about he's pretty pissed off about friggin' somebody killing her boy Franz there. And of course, so they have this hard drive that kicks in, and Neely is freaking out because she's like, "Yeah, he set a timer on it. We have 2 minutes and 3 attempts." And of course, friggin' Reach is like, "Yeah, this is why I hate passwords for." And they're trying to deduce in a few minutes what's the password could be. And Franz was a loyal guy. And luckily enough, the third password, he's even saying like O'Donnell's like, yeah, this like he's like, this doesn't leave this room. I'd admit to nothing, but he's like Reacher. He wanted who did he respect more than anybody? You. He's like, what? Yeah, just put it in. It's like he wanted to be Reacher, change his haircut to like you, started walking like you, and come to find out Reacher, he is the password. All right. Now we have our mysterious guy here again. He is like reading some bootleg Captain America comic, which can be Marvel and DC. And so we find out aliases and shit. Goes down here, try some dialogue. So he's mentioned so all the AMs like Alejandro Mendez, Crupless, so all starting with this with the initials AM. They reach says all aliases. You keep the same initials, so your signature never has to change. All these freaking details and shit. So let's see. These guys aren't getting shy about getting aggressive. All right. One every year. Damn, you really are domesticated. I do like the scene here with New York. So to go to the house and stuff, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, Neely, let's get some New York background noise because he said there's no noise. coming from this inside. He goes, "Here's some little New York background music." And this is messed up, man. He show friggin' there's a dead dog inside. What a shame. But still, like, small details because 'cause they're like, I like the way the fact that, like, what did the dog die of? We checked the toilet bowl is empty, the dog was drinking all the fucking water. So he's like, dehydration, the
Mm.
freaking dog just died from, like, lack of water. And Reach is like, "Yeah, no way he let a dog die of thirst first." So he couldn't come back. And picture here for the whole team. So, in good line, he's like, "Yeah, somebody out there is was hell bent on taking out the special investigators, and well, let them come." So yeah, pretty let's say it was 55 minutes. We just broke it down best way I could with the skipping, and yeah. So I liked it really good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good. It was good first episode. For people who are expecting to see what they saw in episode 1 of season 1, I think you're going to be a little disappointed, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but for people who have read the books, specifically have read this book, Bad Luck and Trouble, I think you're going to be pretty happy. It's pretty faithful. It's almost word for word, action for action, beat for beat, how Bad Luck and Trouble is. So if you like that, I think you'll like this.
Yeah.
Um, do you have to have seen and enjoyed the first season in order to see and enjoy this? No. I mean, honestly, you could probably have jumped in on this second season, and I don't think you would be the worse for it. Is it probably better if you do? That's really subjective. I don't know
Yeah.
the answer to that. We do get to see a couple scenes where Reacher gets to shine, and you kind of get an idea of what kind of leader he was. You get to see how he motivated his squad and what his squad meant to
Yeah.
him. So, in that way, I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do in the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
but
I did skip back to show people right there. It says this is the first 2 minutes based on Bad Luck and Trouble by Lee Child
Yep,
and his character Jack Reacher. So,
yep,
and like I said, telling people if you watch this, sorry guys that it's unfortunately I wish I could show you, especially when Reacher's kicking a guy's ass. That trailer up on YouTube if you want to. Reacher, as he always does, got some great fight scenes, but boy, people been YouTube, all those companies, they love doing that block button. Like, yeah, go ahead and show footage and we'll block your whole fucking video. So
right.
I'm hoping this is my first time testing this, so I'm hoping that these stills come out pretty good. And unfortunately, it's how we have to do things. So
Yeah.
it's
I think they're doing a good job of showing a more aged Reacher than we saw in season 1 and book 1.
mm,
I appreciate that. We are without the benefit of, the 10 books in between this one and the book that came out. Although I would remind people that the Reacher books themselves are done out of order.
mm,
So between the first book, Killing Floor, in 1997, and this one in 2012, there are at least 3, maybe 4 books that
yeah,
take place before the 1997 timeline, including a book goes as far back as 1989.
yeah,
Now, how that works with modern day Reacher, I don't know. I don't know how you would qualify that. But I mean, just basically look at it like that. Just say, okay, well, we're going to be seeing this stuff and it's out of time, it's out of the timeline. You're not going to see any characters besides Neely pop up from season 1 of Reacher. I can promise you that right now.
yeah,
For anybody that's holding out hope, shipping Roscoe and Reacher, you will not see Roscoe again.
yeah,
That's not going to happen.
yeah,
For anybody hoping for buddy cop stuff with Finley, that is not going to happen. This is
yeah,
basically a revenge book. His team has been targeted for reasons unknown, and of the 9 people, only Neely is still running around doing
yeah.
okay. Everybody else
Awesome.
is either scattered to the wind, or they're injured, or he's going to find out later killed. So he is going to try to figure out who did this to his unit,
Mm.
and what he needs to do to stop it from happening to himself.
No, I mean, so far episode one, I mean, it sets up. I'm happy Reacher's back. It stays consistent to the the character that he is. He doesn't like being called things like sir, and he's a stickler for
Right.
details. He's,
Right.
it's funny, like you said, he's military police coming from the first season. He's a very good detective in his how observant he is. And yeah, no, it's 2023 and people get all gloom and doom and stuff. And everything is, we say it before, all these books and all these TV shows are so quote unquote woke. And like, well, so far, Reacher episode one, it's not. It's something good to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm
I'm
very
excited
happy.
for I'm probably gonna knock out the next couple episodes tonight, and then when we
Yeah,
talk about this again, I'll be ahead of the game like I was
yeah,
tonight because I
yeah,
did
and
watch this
yeah,
before you and I just rewatched it.
yeah, and it's like that's what and telling you, anybody watching, I didn't want to do a pure watch along because I don't want to make a 55-minute video, just showing stills, and I think it's going good. I'm gonna upload this hopefully tomorrow morning, and hopefully Amazon doesn't have a problem with me just showing stills. We'll see.
All right.
All right, buddy. So yeah, we'll see you for episode two.